Hi, all. Kinsey Schofield here with our friend Scott Rouse, a leading expert in behavior and body language. Scott serves as a trusted advisor to law enforcement, the military, top tier CEOs, and of course, me. Be sure to follow Scott on his YouTube channel and the Behavior Panel's YouTube channel. I'm sure you do, because Scott, I met you thanks to so many people saying, please, for the love of God, talk to this man. You are a national treasure.
Oh, that's what I tell everybody. But when we were at CrimeCon, you wouldn't believe all the people that would said, "What's Kinsey like? She seems so sweet. She seems so nice." So many people said, "I didn't know who you were until I saw you on Kinsey's
Oh
show."
my gosh. Well,
Yeah,
we need to have a party with those people. There needs to
yeah.
be a party with those people. Congratulations on CrimeCon. That looked like so much fun.
Oh, we had a blast. We always have a blast there. They're good people.
And
Make it easy.
do you ever learn things when you're at CrimeCon watching other experts? Do you ever take something away and go, hey, that's pretty good?
Yeah, yeah. There's always you'll always learn something because there'll be somebody they'll have someone who's into the neurological side of it or the science side of it, and there'll be a part of psychopathy that you've always wondered about, but it's too far down the hole to get into, but a
Mhm.
specific part of the brain that deals with psychopathy. And so those people they don't like me because I get them cornered and suck up their time the whole time after their thing. But you always learn something. There's always, and it's so many different things you can do there.
Yeah.
You've got people who are telling you about these cases you've never heard of. And there'll be people you run into where you've worked that case. And they're like, "Do you remember me?" And it's like, "Oh, yes," and you don't, but you say, and there are, there's just so much going on there, and it's so organized, and it's done so well. Yeah, it's so much fun.
Well, I'm hoping that you can bring some of those skills to our discussion today, because we are talking about Meghan Markle's big Paris Fashion Week debut. You cover Meghan a lot on your channel. And to me, I thought this was a very different looking Meghan. Did you feel that way too when I initially sent you some of these clips? Did you go, wow, this isn't Bloomberg Meghan. This isn't With Love Meghan. This isn't the type of Meghan we typically see. Or am I just maybe just so
No,
caught off guard by the Obi-Wan Kenobi cape?
no, you're completely right because you haven't seen this behavior from her because she's been like, "This is the authentic me, and this is what I'm doing. I'm not wearing makeup, and and she's talking these interviews she's doing, and what we're seeing here is her being out and being Megan the in her head. I'm sure she still has that inner dialogue of I'm a duchess or whatever it is, and there are questions about whether she is or not. I don't think she is. Is she still got that? She's still the
She
I don't
technically has the name, but
okay.
but she's not in the United States. What is a title?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's we're seeing her put on her face of I'm being, but you can tell with some of these things that the ones that you sent me anyway, somebody said, "Here's how you do this."
Okay.
But they didn't spend much time with her. If that in fact happened, because she may just be watching things. I'll point out a few things as we go along to show you what she thinks she's supposed to do, and she's almost doing it right. But if she had had a professional sit down with her and go, here's how you do that. When you step out, you do this. When you walk by, you do this. She's real close, but I think if nobody said, here's what you do, someone, she's mimicking what she's seeing. She's been watching all these people do this. And it's like anything else. If you don't have somebody instructing you on it in person, so when you mess up,
They can
then you
correct
don't,
course.
yeah. So you
Yeah,
don't
so
know
it's
you're
so
messing it up.
I think I let me try to translate what you're saying. You think she's like on TikTok or Instagram watching people she admires do these things, but she
Yeah.
doesn't have any real world guidance where somebody can go, actually, don't make that face. Don't make that
Right.
face. I like the
Right.
walk. Don't make that face. Shift the face. Walk is
Yes.
fine. I can so see her at home looping videos of like Angelina Jolie getting out of a car at a fashion show.
Yeah. And maybe one of her friends said, and do this. That's what I mean by somebody sat down and talked to her and gone over those things with her because it just, if you haven't seen these things yet, when you see them, you'll go, something will bother you about it if you haven't seen these yet. You'll say, why is this so cringy? Why does this hurt me? And I'll show you why.
Okay, let's jump into some of them. The very first video I want to show you is at the beginning of the night, and she's in this white outfit. And I don't think you would ever say to me that you believe you are level expert on fashion, but I would love your opinion on the white outfit in general. Is she comfortable? How is she when you
Uh,
look at these?
as odd as that looks is as odd as she feels. I know that
Mm,
that sounds odd.
this is when we first see her, I believe, in the night. I want you to look at this walk
Right.
and tell me what your vibe is. Because my favorite comment online was, "Did she just have a hip replacement?"
Right. Well, look at her left hand, the way that's stuck up like that. If you
Yes.
don't have something to do with your hands, then you just look goofy walking out. You look like that person behind her. It's like a normal person. So she tries to poise to look poised as she walks out. And the thing is, you look straight ahead, you have a blank expression on your face for the most part, like nothing else is happening. There's a specific way you'll see famous people do this. And I know that they're told how to do it because I know the people who tell them what to do or suggest, here's what you do when you do this. When you walk out, you've got to do this. When you hold your hand like this. I'm sure everybody's seen those things on Instagram and TikTok where the guy goes, you can take a picture like this, then he changes the girl and it looks like a different person because she's standing there the way she thinks she's supposed to look, thinks everybody's doing. But then when he goes, no, move your leg back this way, put your hand up this way and do it like this instead of like this. It makes all the difference in the world. That's what she's trying to do by herself or one or two of her friends together saying, now do this as she comes out because it looks so odd and so stiff. Whereas it should be natural. When she's talking about being authentic, this is where she should be authentic as well. Because in all of her interviews, I'm just trying to be authentic. Nah, this is where you actually see her not being, and people go, I knew I didn't like her, and see, and so you can point at that and say, because they know it makes everyone else uncomfortable as well, because it doesn't look natural.
Um, I like when you talk about that lack of authenticity, and I'm not saying this is authentic either, but I do think what I've come to expect from her is when she walks out and sees a crowd or sees cameras, she usually goes like a Disney princess, like, and so it is so strange to me to see the dead eyes. Like she's trying to look like she's not miserable, that classic LA look, like I don't even really want to be here.
Yeah.
And it's so weird to process that.
Well, there's a part of this. If one of if you train three-lettered agencies, CIA, FBI, those kind of, a lot of times those groups are dealing with other countries,
Mm.
and so sometimes other countries will have when you have these meetings, say United States and Russia or whoever they're going to meet with, they'll have people from the government in there that are higher up that just want to be a part of this meeting so they can see what the Americans look like, see what's happening, sort of get a vibe on what's going on with them. And it was really hard to spot those people. How could you tell what was happening? So, to make a long, horrifically boring story short, we figured out how to spot those people and would train everybody what to look for. Then they found out that we were doing that, so they would change it. And then we had to start looking for something else. And then they found out about that. So I know what it looks like when you've been instructed to or you're trying to look like something you're not as you're literally walking out the door so we could see where these people would go when they left. We know they're going to their cars and all that, but you could tell a lot by who's in charge, by who follows that person. The alpha is usually in the front and the others follow a little bit behind them. So they found that out too. But there are other ways you can find out. This is one of those things, and they have a look on their face, and they you can spot by the way they walk and how they act, and that's what we're seeing here. This is really overblown for her,
Yeah.
for to be using it as an example, but that's what I'm talking about. You can spot these things
Well, no,
because
I
you
don't
can.
think it's overblown. I think that it totally makes sense, especially because it's such a contrast to what we normally see. I understand what you're saying. I think
Yeah.
that it makes perfect sense.
Okay. Okay. Good. Yeah.
That's
Because
why
it's
we love you. Oh wait, are you going to totally disagree with the internet that compared her to Zoolander? Or I mean, you're being much more serious here, but can we take a moment to say that it is giving a little Zoolander? Are you above that? That's okay if
no,
you are.
no, no, I love stuff like that. That's why I told you when I get on here, I feel like going, girl, she do. But I got to watch my
We
mouth.
one day I'm gonna make the edit. One day every episode we're like, girl, I'm just gonna have an edit of like 10 minutes of you doing that.
That's what I need. But yeah, it's because she's doing that. She's in Zoolander. They're way over the top, acting like a model. They're acting like models, and she's acting like one too. That's why that comparison all of a sudden comes up because you go, oh, they did that in Zoolander. That's what's going on because it's so obvious. You can
Yes.
tell she's trying to do it.
She is acting like a model. That is exactly what this is.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so the questions I had for you about this, you kind of already answered for me because you're a genius. Did she practice this? Do you
Yeah.
think that, yeah, so you're
Oh,
saying
yeah.
yes, she's in the hotel, she's in this large, suite, hotel penthouse, probably walking back and forth, practicing this. Is her confidence real? She's acting like a model, but is this confidence real? Because I'm so sorry I didn't grab this video, but we saw a video a few weeks ago of Harry and Meghan at the 805 live concert. There are other examples I could give. Kevin Costner's charity event where she's timid and she's like, timid. So I feel like this person is a bit of a chameleon. I love that you said she's acting like a model. She's just acting. I've got to remind myself she's acting.
Mhm.
I wonder how true this confidence is, or if she's acting confident.
Well, when you see a boxer, nobody, you've never heard anybody say, "You think that guy really has confidence?" That boxer on the left or the one on the right, they've all got confidence. And the reason that you're saying, "I wonder if she," because she doesn't. Your brain sees that, and especially as a woman, women's brains are different than men's brains. I think I explained that on here before, and they take in a lot more information than men do, and it is deciphered and decoded and torn apart and looked at differently than the man's brain looks at that information that's incoming. So you all get that feeling of, I don't like that long before we do. We have men's gut feeling where we think we know everything, and that's why. And then you all have women's intuition where you think about it for a minute because it takes so long to sift through all those big groups of information you're grabbing. Then you can go, I don't like this person. You won't know why at first, but later on you'll go, I know why. Maybe a day or 2 days later, but you go, I don't like her or him because of this. And you'll be able to say that. And that's the feeling you get when you're seeing her. That's why you're saying, "Is this real confidence?" Because you would know we wouldn't even be talking about it because it would be so obvious. We would just go on to the next thing. So no, that's not real. That's put on as well.
I
And I
believe the
think she was,
confidence is inauthentic, but I think she's thrilled that she's in that position. Does
yeah.
that make sense? Can those two things be the same?
Oh yeah, because the narcissistic side of this, it's in the narcissist in her. She is a narcissist. Nirvana. This is where they want to be with, the flashing lights and all that. And she's seen people do that. That's why she got her hand out walking that really odd walk. We'll get to her shoes in a little while. But I'm supposed to look at all this stuff. And
Yes.
as a professional, that's what I do. And I just call them like I see them.
Yeah.
But I'm not like looking to look at those shoes. I'm just saying,
Well,
let's see
she
what's some
makes it
problems with
easy
that.
for us when she puts it on a car seat. When she holds her hand out in a strange way, does she want us to see her jewelry? Because a lot is made out of the jewelry she chooses to wear. Whether she grabs one of Princess Diana's old pieces, at the Kevin Costner event recently, she allegedly wore over $300,000 worth of jewelry at a charity event. So could she be proud? Is she proud of it? Or is that really just her giving off those airs of like, I'm a duchess. I'm a duchess here.
Well, she knows that whatever jewelry she's going to be wearing is going to be looked at and shown, but that's not why she's sticking her hand out like that. She's doing that because that's what she's seen people do
Yeah.
or been told to do and said, here's how you do this. And she practiced once or twice at the house, at home before she left. And I don't think she was in the hotel room getting ready for it because it would look smoother than it looks at this point. The
Ah.
narcissistic side of her says, "You got this, man. Don't worry about that." And there's nobody there to say, "This looks goofy, man," because you have that thing where if you don't treat the narcissist the way it wants to be treated, then you get kicked to the curb. She's got a bunch of people that are being nice to her, even if they're just being too nice to her and not telling her that looks goofy and weird. So when she goes home, I'm sure Harry's saying, "Hey, look, man, this is," they're going to say no matter what you do, they're going to say something about it.
Yeah.
Even though he looks at it and goes, "Mm."
Hi, all. I wanted to share today's brilliant sponsor with you and tell you why I love Peak. Peak has taken a modern, science based approach to wellness, creating tea crystals and superfood blends made with exceptionally clean ingredients. Their products are all about making daily health habits easier and more effective, whether that's supporting digestion, glowing skin, steady energy, or just feeling your best. Personally, hydration was always a struggle for me. I drank plenty of water, experimented with electrolytes, and even stuck to the right skincare routine. Yet I still dealt with dry skin, brain fog, and restless nights. That shifted when I started Peak's Deep Hydration Protocol. In the morning, I use BT Fountain, their beauty electrolyte. It helps hydrate from within, smooth skin, and gives me lasting energy. In the evening, I switch to RE Fountain, the calming electrolyte, which contains a gentle form of magnesium that eases tension and helps me get deep, restful sleep without feeling groggy the next day. What sets it apart for me is the purity: no sugar, no fillers, no artificial flavors, just real ingredients like lemon juice and beetroot. Within a week, I noticed my skin looking more plump and hydrated, my focus sharper, and my overall energy had improved. If you want to give it a try, I've got a special link in the show notes for you: 20% off for life, plus a free gift with my link, peaklife.com/Kinsey. That's PIQUE life.com/Kinsey. Now back to the show. Oh my gosh, we're going to get to that because I'm curious to know what you think about um, potentially Prince Harry's thoughts on the car video. But let's talk about this. This is at the fashion show that she giggles when somebody trips on the runway. That face right there. Do It's almost like she looks over at the person she's with, Marcus Anderson, and he's almost like he won't make eye contact with her. And I think he's like shutting her down there. Am I reading too much into that body language?
No, he's the alpha in this situation.
Oh,
And we can tell that because when she does start laughing, looks at him, she expects him to look at her and start laughing too, because that's what all of her friends do with her. So that's why she's with him, because he's an alpha apparently in that scene or
well,
that.
he's also holding her hand throughout a lot of this trip as if he's taking care of her when they're
Oh,
walking through crowds. So yes, I believe you.
okay. And as soon as she turns around and sees he's not smiling too, doesn't even eye check with her, doesn't even look at her. He just keeps looking serious. I think because from peripheral view, he can see she thinks it's funny, and he knows that's not cool. He can't do that because that's his turf. That's where he's supposed to be one of the big guys in that. So when she gets finished, you'll see her hand come this way. She comes back and she comes this way, and she sort of pulls on her coat right here. Now, she's not trying to get cooled off, but that's what we do if we get heated up and we get embarrassed. That's an adapter. She's adapting by touching her neck on the way down, then pulling on her clothes. That gives her something to do, and it gets rid of that built up stress and tension and energy that's happening from that little engagement with him, because she knows she messed up. And it's nothing big like, oh my gosh, I messed up. She's like, ooh, got to be cool about that.
Right.
Not thinking anybody would see that and we'd be talking about it. But
Interesting.
from a body language perspective, that's what's happening. She knows she messed up. She checks him. She laughs. She checks him. He's not laughing. He's the alpha. Didn't even look at her. And then she looks. She's like, "Oh no!" And looks back around. That's why she gets smaller. And that hand come around and touch her neck, and then pull on her, whatever that thing is she's wearing.
Yeah. Obi-Wan Kenobi cape. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's Marcus Anderson, and he is one of her very good friends, one of her oldest friends. He's in leadership at Soho House, the chic club where she allegedly met Prince Harry for the first time. It's like a members only club. I'm sure you're familiar with it since you're a member of all the cool clubs. But yes, when I first saw that, I immediately thought, act like you've been there before. And this would be a typical environment for him. This would be somewhere that he would be regularly.
Okay.
Because he hobnobs and he's a socialite, but this is a rare moment for her. So when I saw that chilly exchange, I immediately thought, act like you've been there before. This is amateur hour for Meghan Markle.
Yeah. I agree with you. Obviously, but you can tell he's the alpha because she checks with him to make sure he's laughing too, and thought they would connect, and he's
Mm.
not connecting with her.
A
So
lot of
it's
people
sort of
are
shut her down.
translating that exchange from Meghan specifically, not excluding Marcus, but Meghan, as a lack of empathy. Do you think it's that deep?
No, no.
Okay.
She's probably not very empathetic toward anyone. If something happens, she's used to laughing at people and used to, oh, that's, they messed up because I'm perfect. That's the way the narcissist is. That's what they project, even though they see themselves as failures and really don't like themselves. That's the root of the narcissist. They just can't, they hate themselves, but they want everybody to think they're perfect. So she thinks it's okay to laugh because that's her personality type, is to laugh at someone else's mistake and to point that out because she's perfect.
Well. wait till you see this video, which I know you've seen because I sent it to you
Okay.
earlier.
All right.
Yeah, this is like what's when people say
Oh,
that
yeah.
we give her a hard time. I think it is because of the idea of the narcissism, and like she tries to project herself so perfectly, and then you see one of these videos and you're like, this is the example of why it's so easy to pick on you. When they go in to do, I imagine the double, I guess she was trying to do the double kiss. I don't know what she was doing here when she greets the new creative director of Balenciaga, who they tell us is a friend of hers. I didn't
Hmm.
sense that there was a real relationship here based on that awkward exchange. Do you have any insight there when you watch that?
Yeah, everybody thinks this is her fault, but what actually happens is you do go in on the left like that. Everybody goes to the left when you do that little face touch, fake kissy thing. And so what happened
Post
was,
COVID, I'm not trying to kiss anybody.
there you
Okay.
go. There you go. So it was she went in and then he took a little too long. So she thinks he's going in for a hug. So she starts to hug him. And then he starts to turn and she realizes too. And she starts to push. That's why we see that his nose squish up against her face and that really weird encounter there, you know. And then what happens after that? She's embarrassed as he is as well, because there's all those lights and things flashing at him. So what she does, and I don't even think it's conscious, it was the subconscious thing where she puts her hand on his shoulder. That's when you're trying to, when you assert your dominance in that situation, like I'm still in control. I got this. That was the biggest takeaway for me, was seeing that, because that says it's okay. You know, I got it. That kind of thing.
Oh, so is
But
she trying to put him at ease and saying, like, let's reset this moment right here. Let's give them what they want. Let's give them a picture. Let's is that what that hand
I
on
don't
shoulder
think
means?
I don't think she's going that deep with it. I just think she's saying, "I'm still dominant here. You know,
Oh,
you're okay. I'm done.
okay.
I got this. You're okay." Because now, and again, that's my perspective. I think from having seen these people do these things for ever and ever, because I got to watch things, people do these kind of things. They interact from different countries.
Mhm.
They're both from different countries, and we're dealing with cultural differences. But she's good at doing that thing, because if you'll see any other videos in here where she's doing that, bang, bang, she goes right in, everything's fine, everybody knows what to do, there's a rhythm to it, and he's the one that breaks the rhythm in that. So
Maybe
I blame
his
him.
rhythm is her walk rhythm.
Oof, yeah, that's a
Like
little
his
rough.
greeting rhythm is more of her weird walk rhythm, because you're right, his beats are a little off, but so were hers when she was walking out of that hotel the first time around. I was like, what music is she hearing in her head? Because that is some hip movement that I've never seen before. Okay.
Yeah,
Let's jump to the next video. And this is the gorgeous actress Kristen Scott Thomas. But when we watch this video of this awkward exchange, do you feel as uncomfortable as the internet feels watching this, where she just kind of is like, oh, and walks off? We do know that Dame Kristen Scott Thomas is a fan and likely friendly with members of the British royal family. She's even played the Queen before. So I wonder how much of it is her allegiance to the royal family, or is it just that this is a toxic brand, the Sussex brand, Meghan Markle brand, or am I reading too much into things?
this is in slow motion, so
Hmm.
you can see a lot of things going on. There's a whole lot going on in this thing, because Megan really wants to connect with her, because, you know, she's the one from the movies, she's done the royal stuff and all that. So what Kristen does, I'll call her Kristen, like, you know, Kristen does is I think you're right. I think she finds her a situation she doesn't want to be in. She don't want to be connected to that, because she's past her in the clout department as far as with the royals. Because if she gets in with her, if she's seen, you know, there'll be photos of her looking like they're talking and being friends. That's not going to be good if it gets back to, you know, gets back to London and
Palace, the
gets in. Yeah,
palace.
because she's British and she's got the loyalty to that. And you're looking at someone who has no loyalty to that at all, to the royal family at all. So probably does. I don't know, but it looks to me like she doesn't like her,
Yeah.
because that's pretty hardcore if somebody comes up like that and they're a celebrity, and you are too, and you don't look at him. But she sort of saves the day for herself, because when Megan looks away and puts her hand up like this, which we do a lot of times when we have an emotional situation come up, there's this little suprasternal notch right here. And when women are see they feel danger, or they see something happen to a little child, or they get the phone call, your child's broken.
What you talk?
Or
Wait,
what?
you just talk about women's intuition. You've talked about how deep our intuition is. Could
Mhm.
this be? I realize I've walked into a situation where I'm not welcome. So
Oh
I'm
yeah.
trying to process that. Like,
Yes.
where do I go next?
You
Ah,
nailed it, because that supersternal notch, we touch that or touch near it, the women do, when something like that happens. And then Kristen is not even, won't even give her the courtesy to look over and go, "Hey, what's up?" and then keep talking, completely shunning her. So that was a big deal for her. That you could actually see her meter going down from how important she thought she was. And if she thinks she's this important and she's really this important, she just dropped a few more notches, because that was a really big deal. Because that's a celebrity, it's someone's connected with the royals, someone everybody knows, and then they're coming up. She's going to be like, "Well, we're both actresses, and then we're both deal with the royal family, really." And so we're let's talk, and just totally blows her off. That's a big deal from a social aspect, from a social perspective for her.
is that the lowest? When when you think of all the videos I've sent you, do you feel like Megan's, I don't know, energy is the lowest there? Is that like a knock on her? Whereas everywhere else in the videos, I mean, even with the awkward exchange with the Balenciaga designer, she recovers. Is that kind of just like the first time you see her kind of maybe a little blue or low throughout documentation of this trip on social media?
As an interrogator, you have to be non-empathetic.
Mm. Oh,
90% of the time you have to, no matter what's going on, you have to deal with a person, and it can be horrible things you're talking about and seeing. I've never felt sorry for her before before this video. I saw that, oh my gosh, that's terrible. I felt bad for her for a second. I was like, because I saw I could feel what it must feel like to have that happen. You know,
wow.
it was pitiful, because you can actually see her ratings go, her importance drop there, and the realization of that is what we're seeing on her face. So that's we see those combinations of touching the supersternal notch because of the experience there, the emotional upheaval there, and her turn away and back away a little bit, and she's searching for someone to connect with to make this okay, because she's walked up and gone ta-da, and Kristen didn't do anything, didn't even acknowledge her. That's a big deal. That's why I felt sorry for her.
Wow, that
But
is incredible. Well, you're not after you're going to see this next video. I think I'm going to shift your attitude a little bit,
okay,
perhaps. So you talked about Prince Harry and what he might think when she comes home from Paris. And there's this very bizarre, bizarre video. You also, here she is putting her feet up. She's documenting Paris. She puts her feet up in the car. It's super strange. I don't understand the objective. But I mean, you talk about why people do some of the things that they do. I don't know if you spend a lot of time when it comes to social media behavior, although I imagine that is in your
oh yeah,
wheelhouse. Why would she? And I guess I'm sure you're familiar with this, but she's less than a mile, I think, from where Princess Diana's death site is. She's in the same path that Princess Diana was the night she died. You know, the video is a little haunting if you compare the two. And then why does she document it? Why does she post it? And then we got to get into the feet being up. I mean, I when I see the feet up, I think she's trying to have an influencer moment, but then I think how insensitive doing it around the site that Princess Diana lost her life. And then I'm also curious to know if you think she would have Harry in her mind while doing this, because this might be something that triggers him. A young man that talks about in Spare how he recreates his mother's accident by not the full accident, but jumps in a car with a driver and says, "I want to go 65 miles an hour through this tunnel. I want to know what my mom felt like before her death." You know, this is obviously something that's very devastating to him. I know I asked you 20 questions there. Could you could you unwrap them like a web, perhaps?
yeah. That there, she's into herself in this, in my opinion. This one actually bothers me, because if she's that close to that and that's her husband, you don't, and she's not thinking, she should probably be thinking about him anyway because she's out of the country and he's back home and thinking, oh, maybe she just got off the phone with him. I don't know. Who knows? But that's where you're not, what's going on with the kids? That's where your head would be in somewhere, not in Instagram mode where you want to put your feet up and say, look, I'm living the life, man. When you see
Yeah.
people rent those jets and get on and they're sitting around and, a fake stewardess comes over and gives them something. They get up and they're sitting there talking about how much money they've made or whatever, or what they do for a living. And they don't because it's just a rented plane.
Yeah.
That's the vibe that you're talking about, that Instagram influencer vibe, because she's seen people do that too and thinks that's what she's supposed to do. There's a lot of things that go with putting your feet up on something like that. It's the end of the day, and here I am. I've done all these things. Is this the end of the night? Do we know? Is she headed back home or to the hotel or whatever?
She's
Is there any
either,
back?
I think she's either heading back to the hotel to go to bed, or she's heading back to change, because then she goes to the after party. So there's two scenarios there.
Okay. Well, she should be aware of what happened. If that's where his mother had been killed, if they're close to that, even close to that, she should be aware of that and not showing I'm relaxing and everything's just fine. A lot of things she's saying a lot with that video. It's look, I'm well off, look, we're rich and look what's happening. I'm in the back of this car and I don't care about anything. I can do whatever I want and put my feet up here if I want to. And that's the influencer part of it. But the part that's so self-centered is if she is near where his mother was killed, that's not cool. That's not good at all. Because that shows you how small a thinker she is when it comes to being empathetic, going back to your thing earlier. So she's showing no empathy for her husband. She's going to know exactly where that place was. If in fact this is close to that, she'll know that. And she should be thinking about that. And she should be probably on the phone with him. You know, I
Speaking
mean,
of
I
you,
can't imagine doing that and not connecting with someone. If it was a friend of mine, I'd be like, hey man, shoot, just went to
mhm,
we're getting closer, just thinking about you. Maybe I'd text him or something, probably wouldn't call some dude, but that you're going to know that you're going to feel that there are going to be feelings there that aren't about you there, that are about someone else. So that kind of bothers me. That bothers me a little bit there.
can I tell you that I feel like the objective is to, you already said this, but I feel like the objective is, look at me, look at how great my life is.
Yeah.
Paris out the window, my feet up. But because we don't see content like this from her very often, we're hyper aware of the fact that this is not her normal life. And I feel like it doesn't have the same Princess Diana chaos aside. It doesn't have the same delivery or impact that she wants it to have. She wants it to have, I am an influencer, I am important, look at me. But when I look at that, I just see like, wow, you're really out of place, because this isn't, you don't normally post content like this. So I know that you probably wish this was your normal life, but this is not your normal life.
Yeah. That,
And I,
that, that makes sense.
yeah.
But at the same time, she may be trying to normalize it. Like I do this too. You know what I mean? Because she is
Mm,
doing it at the same time. But I agree with you 100%. As I always say, the person who uses the term class has none, but no class. She ain't got no class. It's
well,
just
that's what
too
I'm
much.
thinking when I see the feet on the seat. I'm like, I wouldn't
Yeah.
do that in public transit. I wouldn't put my feet on the seat. I would have respect for whoever's vehicle I'm in. I would have respect for ever whose butt is going to sit in that seat next. If that is an expensive, high class vehicle, that's used by high society or by celebrities, there's probably going to be a $2,000 or $3,000 gown that sits on that seat eventually. And I'm hostile to know that Meghan Markle's Paris germs are all over it because she just plopped her feet up there. I think that's so gross. You want us to call you a duchess? You want to sit front row at Fashion Week and you're putting your feet up on the seat?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
And
weird.
you're not known as those. That checks out.
Yeah.
You know.
Um, act like you've been there before. I'll keep saying
Yeah.
it. I will keep saying it. Check out this video. This is End of the Night. Sorry, it's a bit fuzzy, but this is End of the Night. Um, let's see if they if they have her walking in, is this the video of her walking in? I think this is where somebody said she's a Clydesdale. And
Yeah.
I that made me laugh out loud. That was on Reddit. She doesn't have as much pep in her step here as she did at the beginning of the night. Maybe it's the expensive shoes. Maybe she's just kind of, too many costume changes in. Um, did you have an opinion about this video? She doesn't seem as like sweet or eager to be photographed.
Yeah. Again, I could go in and do the old, she I can't stand her. But looking at it from the perspective of behavior and the way it looks as in reality to me, she's probably really, really tired. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how y'all wear those shoes in the first place.
I don't.
Well, if I was gonna wear if I wore them, that's what it would look like. If I went because I don't know how to do that. And she probably knows how, but maybe she's really tired, or maybe these shoes are too big because they do look big to me.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're wild. That's wild. Yeah,
yeah.
so it just did not seem like she was very comfortable there. Sorry, I played this video for you at the beginning, but let's just take a little look at it again. This is kind of a recap of the whole trip. It's like just a variety and a montage. There she is. She's clearly thrilled to be in the front. She's
There's the
walking
hand.
out slow mo.
Yeah.
I guess I would just say, thoughts in general. Is she making her dreams come true? Do you feel like is she walking away from this trip going, nailed it?
I don't I don't know. I mean, she'll decide once she sees what all that people like you talk about and people on your channel talk about and things she sees on Instagram. And she'll say, oh, that's when Harry or somebody will step in and say, no, they're just doing that because of so and so. And then she'll put up that narcissistic shield and go, I'm fine. It's them. It's not me. Everything's okay. They can do that. Which is, I, it's, and there's a difference in that and not caring. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Like personally, I mean, I got a big nose and a bad haircut. Do you think that if somebody points that out to me, it bothers me? I don't care, but her, when she's
I
got
will
this
fight those people for you, Scott.
say, we'll get one of those plaster casts of my nose and you can sling it at him and hit him with it. But she cares. I mean, that will bother her because she sees herself as above everyone else. You know, most people just don't care about that kind of stuff. I can't imagine caring, but she does. That's so important. That's who she. That's her identity. She is this thing, and that is this celebrity that does this, and this, and this.
And the
And
thing
if you
is, I
take
think it worked for her for a while before she met Prince Harry. She could control the media because no one cared to fact check. She was this new girl that was reaching out personally. She's on a show called Suits. She's got a blog. It was so much easier for her to control the narrative before Prince Harry. But then Prince Harry enters the picture, and now she's dating, quickly marries this historical figure. So now people are fact checking and they're saying that doesn't make sense. And it unravels and it's no longer in her control. And I think that she probably struggles with that, having experienced success controlling every headline that came out about her. And she was writing essays in Elle, and that is just, she can't do that ever again. And I wonder how much she misses having that type of control over everything and her brand, her appearance. Of course, if only nice things are written about you, you get only positive feedback on your social media and on every event you do. But it's easier to have only nice things written about you when you're not in the big leagues yet.
yeah, yeah. Well, if you were to take she's not a CEO. She says she is. She's a mother. I guess she could, she's a mother. She's married. She has all those things going on. But once you take her identity away, which doing these kind of things because she's famous, oh, it's nothing for me to go there because I'm a duchess or whatever I am. Once you take that identity away from her, that's when the problems start up here for that person because they'll fight it for a while, but that gets really ugly for a person when you take away who they are from them. And she's trying to keep nurturing this thing that she was or sees herself as. So what we're seeing is who she thinks she is. she thinks we're seeing her be authentic at home. And then when she goes out, she forgets to add that authenticity to this. The reason you like so many the actors that are so famous, and then you talk to them and they've acted like their royalty or whatever. When you talk to them, they just kind of you feel like you know them. Like Tom Hanks can pull that off, and some of those people. Tom Cruise, even though a lot of people don't like Tom Cruise, he can just be a normal guy. I don't know normal, but he can be, normal guy with you.
Right.
And
Sweet.
people,
Yeah.
yeah, at least you feel like you're getting the authenticity of someone. In this case, I don't think you ever get authenticity because she would never go, I don't know, I don't like that. She would just be, well, that's probably something I wouldn't like. And I probably, she may couch it like that, would never come out outside of one of those interviews she does. And she goes, I just don't like that. She would say, I don't know, I don't like that guy. I don't think they should have done that. I don't think she should have done that or he should have done that. So that authenticity is missing. And there is no authenticity in that person she's created. So now we're seeing those two things butt heads. The two different worlds are colliding. So you have that cognitive dissonance. That's why from this point on, I'd say the next year, it's going to get odd for her. I could be completely wrong, but from a psychological perspective, it's going to get something weird's going to something like I don't know what. I'm sitting here predicting. I
No,
don't know.
no, keep talking. No, keep talking. But I want to ask you about something you just said. Is she
Right.
trying to protect this Duchess title? Because they could not use the titles. Is she trying to protect this Duchess title because it's become her identity, or she realized it's her only value? She's no longer on Suits. Prince Harry's not a working royal, but she is married to a prince. I mean, when she's walking like that in white outside of the hotel, I'm like, she's trying to be a model. She's definitely acting like a model, but she's also trying to remind us that she's a duchess.
Yeah. Well, she's not a model because that's its own thing. I mean, there's so many things you have to do to stay that way to be able to pull off that walk that she's not doing, but she thinks she knows how to do it because she's been on TV and people know who she is. So there's just so much wrong with that. There's so much wrong with that. She could be um, she could be trying to defend that I'm still a duchess, but I think she's must be aware that everybody doesn't see her as that or think she is. And I think those people that are close to her, that circle around her, they still treat her that way because of the letterhead she uses. Puts
Mm-hmm.
that crown thing on it, and whatever and I just saw that from having watched stuff for when she was selling that stuff on that
Well, get ready for the
she
Christmas
did.
special, Scott. You better believe you're going to be back here. Okay.
She's got a Christmas special coming?
Yeah, because nothing says the birth of Jesus Christ like Meghan Markle trying to sell us some jam.
Now, I love Jesus. He and I are very
I love
tight.
Jesus too. I
And
love Jesus too.
like I always say, he loves you, but I'm his favorite. But I'm sure since you brought that up, a lot of people say Jesus Christ when they see her at Christmas.
It
You
is
know,
not the same.
it's not in the good way.
It's not the same. That's interesting that you said this next year is going to be interesting because I talked to Tom Bauer, the author of Revenge, and if you haven't read that book, you might think it's interesting because he does amazing investigative work, and he got down to a lot of the chaos surrounding Harry and Meghan in his book Revenge, and he did say that they're at this real crisis point in their brand. Nothing's working out, and he said we're at a weird tipping point where they've got to figure out what comes next. And then all of a sudden she ends up in Paris, and they just say she's there to support a friend, the art director. I mean, I don't get a sense of that or for that. There's also a report that perhaps she's trying to ease her way back into the public's favor because eventually Harry and Meghan would like to be able to return to the UK, and they're very unliked there. So we're saying Harry in the UK, we're seeing her in Paris. I don't know, but I got the sense that this is something she likes and she wants to do more of this. But I also would say too little, too late. I feel like this is something you can do before you try to start selling QVC style jam and honey on TV on a streaming platform. If she were a duchess straight out of the gate appearing at Paris Fashion Week, it would have been like, here she is. But I feel like she's cheapened her brand with a lot of her activity over the last 5 years. So it doesn't make the same impact. And I don't think that there's any rewinding and going back. You're a reality star now.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I just
Uh,
unloaded on you. I'm so sorry.
No, it's no, it's no. I'm thinking about it. I'm just like, because if I feel like I'm watching your with I feel like I do when I'm
Are you
watching you
watching me and
normally.
Kev?
Yeah, when I'm watching you just watch your regular show, I'm like, yeah, yeah, it's me too. So I got wrapped up in that for a second. But yeah, I agree with you, and I agree something would be coming if in fact you've got that cognitive dissonance happening up here as well as with her career, if it's a career, because something's not right here, and everybody can see it on her. Everybody can see it on her.
Yeah.
So there'll be something that happens in the next year, I would think. Be it a divorce, be it a whatever, something's coming, with
Does it
her.
bother you at all that I mean, how do I say this? Because I think that I want to connect the dots to where it appeals to what you do.
Mhm.
You judge people's behavior and you determine whether or not they're being truthful. Does what come out of their mouth follow their actions? Harry and Meghan are receiving a Humanitarians of the Year award for their work in mental health. These are two couples that have completely alienated their families and been very destructive towards the mental health of their families by developing content that's aired internationally, halfway accusing them of things, never going fully in. Um, Meghan has talked about her own mental health, but we never got the follow up. Like, no, everything's fine now. I've dealt with it, and we're all systems go. Is it odd to you that they would feel confident accepting humanitarians of the world or of the year awards um, this year, having seen some of their actions this year? I mean, how many charity events did you cover Meghan Markle at this year? I would say, I mean, I'm cheating because I follow your channel. I would say like maybe one. I don't even know if you've covered one charity event Meghan Markle's been at this year because Meghan Markle's fixation this year has been commercial ventures.
Mhm.
Like,
Well,
is it weird to you that they're just willing to jump on a stage and say, thanks for the trophy. We are humanitarians of the year.
yeah, but what does humanitarian of the year mean? I mean, they tell you what it is from they define it as whoever the people giving the award, but who are the people? And maybe he's some great giving the award, but obviously it means nothing if she's getting it and he's getting it because we know they haven't done anything. We don't, no one sees them as, oh, she's such a humanitarian, except for the platitude she spews out when she's talking about, we just want people to be getting along with people and those kind of things these things that mean absolutely nothing. So how are my question would be, how are they being humanitarians? In what way? I'm never even seeing them be nice to an animal. She definitely wasn't connecting with anybody that we saw that we've seen on Instagram or TikTok or whatever it is. So I'd be like, what are you talking about? And how can I go get one of those too? What do I got to do to win the humanitarian award? Because obviously you can get one, but I'm not going to say you can buy it,
Yeah, well,
but
no, that's what they say
somebody's
that
do.
these are paid for basically by the publicists that are working overtime trying to find places that will elevate these two. I mean, I almost forgot, and then it hit me a few days ago, maybe it was yesterday, that Prince Harry got up on that stage and accepted a Pat Tillman Award for bravery, and I'm like, Pat Tillman literally died for our country. Prince Harry quit his job as a working member of the royal family. I just have a really hard time with people that will take all of the applause um, and will shamelessly not earn them the
Are you
hard
sure
way.
he got that award, the Tillman Award?
Prince Harry got the Tillman Award. Pat Tillman's mother came out and said, I don't think he deserves it. This is basically, give it to somebody who actually has to do the hard stuff. And he's still, over 70,000 people signed a petition saying that he should not get that award. And he still got on a stage and accepted that award.
Wow. Well, there you go. There you have it.
I mean, isn't that,
And scene. Yeah, there it is.
it's just
Wow.
it's just defeating. Like it's hard. It frustrates me. It shouldn't frustrate me, but it does frustrate me. It's like, why do these companies pander to these people that I feel like are so destructive? But I'll get off my soapbox.
No, but to your point, that's why I think this thing is we're going to have that big um, clash of worlds there. So this could be the beginning of the end. That feels like it's been ending the whole time, but I think something's coming.
Mm.
Something, maybe it's a mental breakdown, or who
Well,
knows.
maybe it's just a Christmas special. Do I have your promise that you'll come on and recap the Christmas special with me?
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
definitely.
All right. Well,
Love
agree
to.
with us, disagree with us. Let us know in the comments below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. And please go subscribe to Scott Rouse. Also, follow Scott on Instagram because he has the most fun teasers. Are you making those yourself?
Yeah, yeah,
What a
do it all.
legend. What a legend. A jack of all trades. Well, make sure you follow Scott on his personal YouTube page and the Behavior Panel's YouTube page, and follow him on Instagram. And you get to see lots of animals on his Instagram as well that you name. Do you feed them
Yeah,
legally?
it's horrible. Yeah, I got out of hand. My wife started that. Started
My
feeding the
my parents
squirrels.
do that too, which I don't know if I should be saying this, but like I will look out the window and there will be 30 javelina in the yard,
Oh wow, no kidding.
coyotes. Yeah.
Wow, wow. We have coyotes too, but
Oh,
they chase the squirrel. You get after the
yeah.
squirrels, and I don't like having them
No, no,
around.
no, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah,
All right. Well, thanks so much for your time today. And it's been fascinating to dissect Meghan Markle's trip to Paris with you. And I'm so glad that you were bothered by that feet video too. That's
yeah,
that's the highlight for me.
yeah. Okay, good. We're on the same page then.